There we go.
Hey, there you go.
Sorry, man. I've been watching. I'm like, hey, I can't get on.
It's all good. Nice.
Good to
How
see you
you
again.
been? Yes, it's been a while.
It has been. Are you able to hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years. It was like we were a little bit into COVID,
Yes.
I think, when we chatted last.
Yeah, yeah. I can't even remember. Where are you located?
I'm in Phoenix, Arizona,
Okay.
southwestern US.
Yes.
We're finishing up the monsoon season here. It's nice. We've been having a little bit lower temperature, some crazy rainstorms. This is exciting time of year. Goes from like super ultra hot to then
Yes.
we get about 4 to 6 weeks of some crazy storms. So it's interesting.
Wow. Yeah. Nice. How long have you been there for?
I've been here my entire life.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, born and raised.
Nice. You're not like a nomadic, been like all over the place.
No. I'm staying here close to family.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like me in, Toronto area, right? So
Yep.
I hear you on that.
Yeah, and man, it's hard to keep up with you, man. You've got so much stuff going on. Are you
Yes.
running for public office?
I am municipal. Yeah. Yeah. So
Congratulations. Well, good luck. Good luck. Well,
thank you.
congratulations after you win. I'd vote for you if I could.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We were having this talk just with my clients, my colleagues here, about the perception of us as personal, like as fitness people. And I'm looking into taking on another Pilates class, like a community class, because I like having like that low entry point as opposed to like my private sessions, right? So I'm taking on a new class in a new area. And he was saying like, if you're trying to get voted in as a city councilor, won't it look bad if you go in as like a fitness person? Like, I don't know if I want like a fitness guy running my city type thing. And I was like, well, to the contrary, people want healthy, active cities. There's older people who want to stay in their home as long as possible. And they know that movement is the only solution for that. So I think that I actually have some credibility coming in and saying like, I'm making movement important to our whole city on top of the other things that are important to me. So actually the contrary, I think I have I think that actually lends to my credibility going to office, so to speak.
Should I start off with something controversial? Look back during the pandemic at all of the officials that were telling us how to live, and
Yes.
no mention of movement. And then the controversial part, taking a look at some of these people, obviously they weren't moving. So no, man, we're sick of the status quo. It's just everything, every politician, every official, every person that comes in is saying the same thing over and over and over again.
Yep.
Part of what we went through here in the United States with our last president, that was almost a statement of rejection of the status quo. And I don't want to get into that too much, but people are looking for new ideas. We're looking for new voices. And so, yeah, just have someone come in that has like a fresh approach. It's got some new ideas. You've got expertise in these areas here. And I want to bring that expertise to what we're trying to do here. Now go for it, man.
Yeah. The last thing on this really dicey topic, when masks came in and there was the mandates and stuff like that, they're very, very strict in Ontario. And I look back in that time, and that's the one thing that I have been saying is that was a missed opportunity when you're mandating things to mandate exercise. Was there any way that you could have promoted more movement? Is there any way that they could have, like just take advantage of that? Like while we're mandating things, why don't we mandate exercise?
Yeah.
Why don't we mandate fresh air? Why don't we mandate, what I'm saying? Like that was the piece that I think like, there could have been more, more of a voice on.
Yeah, getting outside. I mean, I was so outspoken about vitamin D and sunshine. I understand that. Like, it's like when you got people in cities and they're living stacked up on top of each other in condos and apartments and stuff like that, mandating that everybody gets outside and gets exercise, is that, this is where it gets really complicated, right? Because what do you do with all of these people passing each other in the elevators? Staircases were supposed to be social distancing, right? Like, but we could have figured it out as well. Like, just be like, oh, this is really complicated. We shouldn't just do this. Let's just force this one size fits all solution. That just, you know, we're smarter than that. We can figure this out. We can figure out ways to do that. And
Yes.
so telling people sunshine is very important to your health, you know, and if you can't, if you're one of these people that's stacked in an apartment complex, maybe try supplementing. You know, vitamin D is very cheap, but you know, no messaging like that at all. It was just really unfortunate.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that too, like, you know, the way we do Pilates is the way we do life. Like I was actually late watching your post. That's why. Because I was sitting there just going, it's like, oh, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna do that. Oh, that's good. I'm gonna try that after. That's good.
Yeah,
Because like those are like, it's just movement and it's creativity and it's thought and it's not thought. It's plans and it's no plans. Like we just go.
totally.
And we get it. And how do we cultivate that in others? How do we inspire people to just figure it out when it comes to whatever movement practice works best for them, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it's mostly just continuing to do what we do. What we do naturally inspires people. So if we spend too much time thinking about how exactly that magic works, you know, we might miss out on inspiring more people. So, you know, we continue to learn and grow in our professional areas in terms of like our knowledge, how we lead groups of people. And just as we learn and grow, if we are inspirational people, our improvements and our growth is just naturally going to extend out and reach more people. Our message gets clearer over time, you know, as we figure out a better way to refine it and better ways to say it.
You know, it's funny you said that, like your message is clearer. Like, I think that's why I kind of started to get mesmerized by your posts. Cause like, it's almost like you can see your messages getting clearer.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which is, oh yeah, absolutely.
That's, you know, there are a handful of exercise. Well, there are a lot, but you know, within like I love sticking to just like the original routine. So much of my classes are based on that. And then I'll you know, build off of that in terms of like creativity or choreography and stuff. But there are a handful of exercises that are just really difficult to teach. You know, they're simple in terms of their movements, you know. I'm thinking of a couple in particular where it's just like, it's 3 parts, folks. Like, why is this so challenging? But if I see the same, not the same groups, but if I see class after class after class after class, and they all struggle with the same exercise, like if I'm going to teach the same class all day and all 5 classes struggled with this one exercise, is it them? Is it the exercise? Is it me? You know, I lean on it being me first because I'm the one that's talking about it.
Right.
But then sometimes I'll get up on the machine and demonstrate it and just be like, this is exactly what I'm saying, folks. Like, this is what this cue means. This is what it looks like. This is what this, you know.
Yes.
And then and half of them will get it, and then half still won't. So it's so interesting in terms of just like, how do I refine my, you know, my message? What new cues do I need? What cues aren't working? You know, that's what's so interesting to me, is because you think you've got it, and I've got it described in such a perfect way, and then no one's moving. So what happens?
Like they're waiting for the cue, but it's like, no, I finished my cues. You're supposed to.
It's like, yeah, no, go ahead, start.
Yeah. Yes. I love the Mr. Miyagi quote. Like, there is no bad students, just bad teachers. And that's not always the case, but I still come back to that when I think, okay, so maybe I need to present this in a different way. Like, I had a client this morning and gave her a bunch of cues on it, and I just like stopped and I just did the exercise and didn't even talk through it. So I'm just gonna do it. I'm not gonna say anything. See what you find in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we can't always figure everything out for everybody.
Right.
And not everybody's gonna be our person too, right? So I mean, in all of that stuff, we gotta find what works, right?
Right. And I know some very, very, very smart people that need to see it. They just like, just hop on there and do it. I want to watch you do it.
Yep.
Okay. And then they got it. And it's just like that. So it's so much of teaching for me is adapting to the person that I'm dealing with.
Yes.
And then as you work with people over time, you get a feel for kind of how they think. You know, you can see the wheels turning sometimes, and I love that. Because you know, then you can really tell if you're challenging them, but then you can also tell, you know, if you need to say it differently or something like that. And then that's just how, you know, those are the good client relationships where it's just like they almost anticipate what you're going to do next, and you know, and then you know exactly where. All right, and then we're going here, and I need to keep my shoulders down, don't I? You got it.
Yeah.
You know exactly where we were going. You know, stuff like that. So those moments when the clients are learning, you know, their own tendencies and stuff, and they're looking for ways to find their own sort of self corrections.
Yes.
Which is, you know,
that's good. And people, that's the sound of a great teacher asking those questions, continuing to ask those questions. Like, see, how long have you been teaching for?
Coming up on 10 years.
Right. So 10 years and you're still asking those questions.
Oh, I'm asking better questions.
Right.
That's the whole goal. That's what I'm talking about, learning and growth. Like if I don't ask better questions, I'm going to be stuck here for the whole time. I'm going to be stuck here with what I know. You know, I mean, this is what's so great about this is getting to chat with you, getting your perspective on things. You know, I mean, I'll take away a few things from this and apply it to stuff that I'm doing even later this afternoon, hopefully.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So here's your question. Hypothetically speaking, I'd love to hear from people in the comment section too. You bump into someone, you tell them what you do, and their response is, "Oh, I hate Pilates. I had a teacher once, and I just didn't work for me."
I would probably chuckle a little bit. I'll usually smile as a bit of a shield, just so that they know that there's not going to be a confrontation here. But that's hilarious to me. They tried Pilates once, and it didn't work out for them, and they hate it. I mean, I know this is just an example, but
sure.
It's like I would laugh and I'd say, that's interesting. After one time, you know that you hate this thing, and then I would tell them the reason why I laugh is because the first time I did, you know, hot yoga, I'm looking around the room going, "You are all crazy, and I will see you never." But then you come back, you know, and then the second time you're just like, this was just, why did I come back? And then you're like, well, wait a minute, maybe there was something here. And then the third time you're just like, okay, I see it. There's something here. Might not be for me, but there's something here. I can respect what's actually happening here. And so that's why I have the three class rule. If you're trying something new, you know, give it 3 attempts, because you could just be in a bad mood that day. Your teacher could be in a bad mood. Who knows what happens to us before we walk in the door. I was just having a conversation about that with one of our teacher trainers just last week, and you know, because the teacher training process is tough. You know, a good program, you know, you're talking 500 hours in a short amount of time, and it's self-paced to a certain extent, you know, as you're working on your hours, but it's a lot of pressure, right? And as we're working with these, and I love working with the students because it just refines all of my fundamentals. But then it also, you get a chance to see sort of where they're at. But everybody knows the material, and everybody is panicking about the tests and everything like that. And I try to tell them, I'm just like, the panic is real. I mean, oh my God, the way that I had horrible test anxiety, and I'm having triggering moments right now thinking back to the teacher training. But that was my whole point, is like, this is the hardest part. You know, the Pilates. Yes. You just have to pass this test, you know, that you're so nervous about, and then you're off and you're doing your thing, and then you can kind of teach, and then that's how you develop your own style. But the only thing you're nervous about is because you don't remember the name of that exercise that you know so well. So, and then we were also talking about how the bigger point I was trying to get to was just that, I mentioned it earlier, is that you don't know what happened to somebody before they walked through the door. And so many times I would let that affect me, where I would have this routine that I would want to do, And then 3 people would come in with a dark cloud over their head. And then it's just like, oh man, I don't know if these people are going to want to do a plank today.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I'd find myself modifying my workout, which creates so
Talk
much
yourself out of it. Yeah.
anxiety for me, because now it's just like, I'm worried about 2 things. I'm worried about these people that I have no control over. And I'm also
Right.
worried about my routine that I just abandoned.
Yes.
So now I'm changing up my routine in an anxious state, and I don't like the exercises that I've decided to change it with, right? Because they're not going to be as challenging, because I'm trying to make it easier for these. So that's happened to me a handful of times, and I'm really hard on myself, too much so sometimes. But that was something that I learned so much from, and through just conversations with a couple of people. And then you realize that it's just like, that's not my energy. They brought that dark cloud in. Stick with your routine. And if they want to get up and walk out, they don't have to stay.
Interesting.
And the way that I got there was because I would just struggle through this whole routine. And then at the end, those people would come up to me and they'd just be like, oh my God, thank you so much. That such a terrible day. This just turned everything around for me. And then it's just like, oh, that was more about me really than it was them. They came here for exactly what I gave them. And I was so worried about it that I was so in my head about it that I turned up my routine and everything like that. And then so it was literally like overnight.
Yeah.
When they came in the next day, and I felt that same sort of energy, where I just be like, okay, so what happened? And a school teacher, like, oh my God, teenage boys. I know, crazy, right? Okay, well, what happened with you? Oh, I'm a nurse, and we've got an outbreak here. Okay, and then what happened with you? Oh God, just dealing with salespeople that keep telling me the wrong thing. I'm like, all right, everybody, take a deep breath. The bullshit's over. We're gonna do Pilates for an hour, and
We're here.
Yeah, and it works every time.
It does, but I feel like what you're saying there, like the thing that really made me think for myself is the fact that sometimes, like you're saying, you read the people and stuff, and then you adjust it. It's like my own, this is going to sound soft, or I don't know how to put it, but like my own weakness in that moment. Do I cave and abandon my schedule and my plan? Or do I redouble my efforts because now I have to be that much more creative to deliver that which I already had planned? Or I have to accept the fact that I might not get to all the exercises today. We might have to slow the pace down, change some of the variables so that people can still do what I planned. It's really just more work for me.
Yeah. And I think the answer is you do all of those things, and you do all of those things sometimes in the same session, and you have to be okay with it not working out.
Yeah.
It didn't. I tried. I could not figure out where to meet you guys today. We tried this. We tried this. We tried slowing down. We tried repeating some things. And you know what? Hey, tomorrow. Let's do it again tomorrow.
Yes.
I think it's that kind of authenticity. People really appreciate that. It's that standing up there and fake it till you make it. There's something to that for sure. But I think we've all been in a room where you can tell when someone's faking it. And then it's just like when that person turns around and sort of gives it up and is just like, I slept for 3 hours last night. I'm forgetting everything that I wrote down. Okay, cool. Now I know where you're at. I can give you a little bit of grace. Get your notes. Let's go.
Exactly.
Like what do you need to do, and give them some slack that way. But it's those times when I've given it up and just turned around and just been like, okay, everybody, I can't remember what I wanted to do. Let's try something else. Everybody kind of laughs and they appreciate that. It's honesty, it's authenticity.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it sounds like both of us have come to that place of accepting the fact that being that transparent and that authentic actually still is power, still is influence, it still is strength. All those things that we want to put out there to inspire people can still be achieved by being transparent about where we are at in our own personal lives.
If everybody is faking it, then when somebody gives it up and is just like, hey man, this is what's really happening.
Yeah, and then everything.
Like, okay, good. He does it too.
Exactly. That's leadership. Then you can lead.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then you realize that, and then you're just like, okay, this is another way I can lead people. I can be more honest.
Exactly, the honest, and this is our journey together.
Yeah, yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
hold on just a second. My gotta let my dog out.
All right. I can read some of these comments while I'm waiting for Steve too. One of the comments earlier, what do you say to the person who says they hate it? If you hate it after trying, is then probably you're probably in that space. Hard work isn't always fun. True, that's part of it.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yes. Tracy's comment earlier is applies as a physical and mental release. Yes, so true. And inviting people into the fact that it may be a mental release. You know, I've had clients who come in like, I don't know what we did today. Like we just went an hour and it just went so fast and I feel like it did nothing. It's like, well, no, actually you're very present through those exercises. We did a lot of balance stuff today, or we did this or that. And you were, oh yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, I feel good. You know, so sometimes there is,
Not to jump in on that, but
go.
That's mindfulness.
Right.
Nobody knows how to meditate. Everybody says they're terrible at meditating. I can't turn my brain off. You're not supposed to turn your brain off. You know, so nobody really understands what mindfulness is. Mindfulness is just being present in the moment, and how you would know if you're spending an hour with somebody and every time you told them to breathe in a certain way, they breathed in a certain way. They followed every rep, they followed every cue. And then all of a sudden you're just like, okay, take the loops off, hang them up, we're done. And they look at the clock in astonishment. They were right there in the present moment the entire time, and they had no idea the time was passing. And then I love just being like, hey, by the way, that's what mindfulness is.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's powerful stuff.
I wanted to ask you something.
Yes,
this goes back to a podcast I heard you say. You were talking with, it wasn't a Pilates person. I think it was like a personal trainer guy. And you were talking about some of your clients in, and then what did you say? I wrote it down, actually. You had like two types. You had guys that were doing Pilates sessions with you and then not wanting to admit that they were doing it.
Yeah. Yes.
And then you just kind of moved on from that, and then I'm
Sure.
I'm looking at my phone, going like, "What? Let's call those guys out."
Yeah. Well, there's two types of people that I work with that don't tell people that they're doing Pilates. One is like the weekend warrior, executive, guy's guy, Pilates, who like whether their wife got them into Pilates or they did some research, they read that LeBron James does it, so they wanted to try it, and they realize that it's changing their life, but they don't want to get razzed by their friends for doing it.
LeBron James does it. They razz LeBron James. This is where I don't understand it. It's good enough for the greatest athlete in the world does it.
Yeah, I just cut me loose on this, man. Go.
Call those guys out, man.
Yeah.
Going back to LeBron, I read, and I can't find this article. If somebody has it and they can post a link to it and share it somewhere, because like everybody needs to see it. He was talking about his love for Pilates. Mm-hmm. And he was also talking about, you know, when he was very young, and he's got, he's all of these different coaches, right?
Yes.
So he's got a whole routine. Supposedly he had $1 million body budget. Yeah. So he's got all these coaches. Nutrition's laid out. He's got to cook. He's got all of these things, right? In the morning, you're going to go do this workout. Then you're going to go do a practice, and then this, and then this, and then this. Well, Pilates was a part of that routine, and he fell in love with it. And then it got to the point to where they're saying, okay, as we get close to this part of the season, we're tapering off of this, we're changing this, and then we're tapering off on Pilates and this. He fell in love with Pilates so much that he started doing it behind their backs. And then he got to the point where one day he realized, I'm LeBron effing James, and you all work for me, and I'm doing Pilates every single day, and you guys figure it out. And I love that.
Right. That's exactly it. And that's the, I had that post on my Real Men Do Pilates page where he's doing an interview. And it was like some old interview. I was watching some Amazon Prime thing and about different athletes and stuff. And this lady's interviewing him. And he said that, where he said like, you know, I'm doing this, I do my training. They tell me these things. And then he goes, I do Pilates, and then they told me I could stop everything else, but I kept doing it. Like, I just, like, I couldn't stop doing it. I just felt too good when I do it to stop it, and come off the program. And, that's exactly it. Like, I bumped into a gentleman yesterday. He's a former professional football player. He's a coach at a school now, and he has a gym in his garage. He still trains like he's still playing pro football. And then he found an app. He just basically typed in Pilates, and the first app that came up, he started doing these exercises. I never heard of the app, never heard of the person, never heard of anything of it. He just showed me the app, and he's doing these Pilates exercises, and he goes like, I feel lighter. I feel like I'm not as puffy. I feel like my spine feels better. I've had tons of cortisone shots for different injuries when I was playing pro, and I'm just doing these. He's doing Pilates by himself off an app in his garage. This is week 2, and he's telling me that he discovered Pilates. Like, that's not my gig. He's beyond excited that he discovered Pilates like Christopher Columbus discovered America, right? Like,
discovered a country full of people. Yeah.
Right, exactly. That's how stoked he is about it. And I was like, thank you. That is the power of Pilates, that you could take a random app from a random teacher, and I don't even know who the person is, by yourself and still feel that good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
and
amazing.
And then these guys are ashamed to tell their hockey buddies in the locker room that they're doing Pilates.
Right? I don't get it. I will out them. That's a safe thing to out. You don't out anybody for anybody else, but so it's all right if you can you can say that your husband does Pilates or whatever.
Yeah. Now, and to the other side to that too, the other person who does not tell him when they're doing Pilates is the professional athlete that wants a competitive edge over his competition.
Oh, so it's a secret.
Then it's a secret.
It's a secret weapon.
It's a secret weapon. All
right. Yeah. And I'm okay with that, because I know some athletes are crazy like that, where they're getting up at 4:30 in the morning because they heard that their competition gets up at 5. So I'm getting up a half hour earlier.
Yep.
And they're banging out those first few sets knowing that guy's sleeping.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some power in that. I get that.
Yeah.
But, it's not a secret anymore, man. It's getting out there. We have more and more athletes coming in, and Arizona's a hotbed for professional sports training. There's a couple of big facilities, and professional athletes from all over the world are coming here regularly. It seems like half of the Major League Baseball retires here or lives here.
Yeah, a lot of combine prep, NFL combine prep guys.
Yep.
Go there
we're seeing so many NFL players over the last couple of years now, which again is that's exactly where they need to be. And it is so like, I go back and forth between not laughing at them, but laughing at just the whole thing, because just to watch somebody where it's just like, I was just watching that guy on Sunday, and he was just taking off quarterbacks' heads and just tossing guys all over the place to get them out of the way. Yeah. And then I'm watching him hang from the top bar on the Cadillac, and everything is shaking. And
exactly.
It's so hilarious to just be like, I can do that better, but I can't do it on the field. But what makes me so proud though is that it's those guys at the top of their game that understand that it's not enough, and that they have to find something that they're not good at in order to improve their overall game. And that's why I laugh, is because I love the whole process of just seeing the whole cycle of the thing is them realizing that, well, it's like Tiger Woods completely remodeling his swing when he was at the top of his game, and he had no reason to do so. He's like, I know where this is headed, and look where it kind of headed. He's had the torque that he generates, with his knee, his back. So it's just to see guys have that realization. That they need to do something to make it better, and it's going to be a little humbling. It's going to be a possible step down.
For sure, yeah. Like, one of the guys that I work with right now played for Orlando Magic basketball, played for Orlando Magic, and then was doing Pilates in Orlando. Then moved around the NBA, then went to Korea, and is playing overseas now, and still does Pilates. He still does work whatever city he lands in. He's like, first thing he does is try and find a studio, find a trainer, find someone to get that into his work. So I like the fact that we are also leaving that legacy with these players, that even if they touch you once, they have a sense of what it's supposed to feel like in their body, what it's supposed to look like. I make sure that I have this as part of my overall training regimen. And so that's really cool.
Yeah, man, when guys are, one guy in particular who got traded from one team to another, and he's getting ready to head out after spring training, and we're like, reach out to this studio, reach out to this studio,
Yes.
And we try to do that too with just, another teacher that I know was trying to coordinate with somebody out in California to try to find a player, teachers and stuff. And I think that's how we grow this community, where it's like, I've never been to Mississauga, but I'm going to send somebody to see my friend Martin if I know that they're out there,
Yeah. Was there ever a time where you're intimidated by someone coming into your studio, whether it's someone who's done Pilates for like 50 million years, or someone who's like a pro athlete and just like has prowess in one area but doesn't know your area, sort of thing?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, that it's not necessarily because of the person. Sometimes it's sometimes it can be the person, sometimes it can be the circumstances, sometimes it's the day that I'm having. Sometimes I get that way on a completely normal person that's not a professional athlete or so. But, if you've got somebody that is in, we don't level our classes, right? So the biggest challenge that we have is when I have a professional athlete that lays down right next to somebody that's got movement issues, and I know that we do all types of modifications for this person in this class, and then it's just like, oh God, what am I going to do here? And then you're teaching multiple classes really at that point is how I've solved that. But before I got to that point, it's just like, oh God, what you're panicking on almost every exercise. How do I make this exercise easy for her, hard for them? But you have to figure out a way to do it. And if you do it, then obviously it gets a little bit easier over time.
Yeah.
You have to do it because this is the job.
This is the job. It's reps, right? Like it's the same, like you're on the, you're only going to get stronger if you get those reps in, right?
Yeah. And it's those moments where you can create safe adversity for yourself. Again, going back to talking to the teacher trainers, mat Pilates was something that I was resistant to at first, just because it's harder. The reformer does a lot of the work for you. You can really make it look like you're not cheating. Or mat Pilates is the equalizer. You can either lift your leg or you can't. You can either do a sit-up or you can't. So, when you're a teacher and you can't do some of these exercises, you will avoid them or whatnot. But, it's like how at the same time, how do you build your classes? How do you let people know who you are and what you do, right? You have to get yourself out there somehow. So you're trying to make yourself popular in a certain way. So community classes, right? But community classes are all going to be done on a mat. No one's going to drag 15 reformers out to some public place. So you got to get on your mat game. And what happens the first time you teach a community class if nobody knows who you are? Mom is the only one that shows up. and that's happened. I had my mom and two other people one time, and it's just like, oh, this is amazing. This is awesome. You love that support, but at the same time, it's just like you still have to go. It really sucks when you see only two people here, and you're just like, okay, gosh, I had this whole routine. I've got this energy. I've got this playlist, and it's like, okay, we'll go. There's still people here, and it might feel a little weird, but man, they also understand what's going on. And when you teach a class to only two people in a community setting where everybody knows that you are expecting a lot more, and you rock it, and you really give them a solid workout, and then also when there's less people, that gives me more of an opportunity to teach. Like if I was expecting 30 people and I'm just going to be shouting out exercises, but if I've got two, it's just like, okay, hold on, let's fix this here. Hold on, let's do this. Try it this way. Try it this way. And then what happened? Now you've got two fans at the end. You know, now
Team
you've got two
ambassador.
people that are walking away, and then they'll go tell somebody later in the day. I did this free Pilates class. Nobody showed up, but the guy kicked our asses for an hour. And he fixed this thing in my back. I was never able to do a sit-up before. Now I can do a sit-up.
Yes.
And that's so powerful. And that's so important. And that is a confidence builder for young teachers. If there's any young teachers, that you can find safe ways to create adversity for yourself like that.
Yes.
And you get through those, you get so confident.
Absolutely. So can you give another example? I'm trying to think of like what are the contexts where you give yourself that safe place for adversity, like to challenge yourself in that way?
Well, the other one that we do at our studio is that we will teach split classes, where we will allow a couple of teachers, the owner in particular, extremely popular, right? So wait lists would build up. And, you know, years ago, one day she was just like, let's just invite them all in and we'll split the class in half. And then so what she did is we have reformer tower combos. And so, you know, you can do tower work off the back of the reformer on the ground while people are actually using the reformer still. And we do that a lot, just where we'll have a class going and people can do privates off of the back. It's cozy, but you know, it's a way to get a lot of people trained at the same time. Well, in this situation, you teach in two classes at the same time. You know, you put 4 people on the back, you put 4 people on the reformer, and you're literally saying, okay, people on the reformer, you guys are doing footwork, go. People here, you're doing this, go. And then you're saying like, and then you're trying a cue over here, right? All right, you know, but it is what it is. It's hectic, right? You're teaching 2 classes at the same time. You're looking at the back and you're giving people are taking the wrong cues from the wrong direction. But you know, you set that expectation at the beginning. You say, look, this is what we're doing, folks, you know, and it's hectic and hang in there and I'm not going to be counting. And, you know, and we do our best. But, you know, you also realize that those people are all there for you. They're there to take specifically for you, that they join the wait list. Right. And then so I watched her do that enough times. And the first few times it's just like, oh no, oh hell no, I want nothing to do with that at all, ever. And then one day it was just like, no, I need to do that. I have to figure out how to do that, just to have it.
Throw yourself in it, right?
And maybe not ever do it again, but I was like, I have to figure out how to do that. Because in one way, if you're getting paid per person, you just put 2 more people into your class. So there's that too. And then the first time I did it, it was extremely hectic, you know, and I was so nervous and everything, but that's the kind of safe adversity I'm talking about, because at the end, everybody was just blown away. They're like, I don't know how you did that. I don't know how you taught 2 classes at the same time. And I'm like, I don't remember either. It all happened so fast. But that was such a confidence builder because of how hectic and anxiety ridden the whole thing was. But then at the end, the heavy breathing, you know, and the way that they're moving, that doesn't lie. Like they worked really hard. And what I was in my head about was I counting? Was I giving the right side the right cues? You know, did I forget anything? Because, you know, halfway through you switch them and then you start over. So you're teaching 2 classes at the same time twice. And, you know, did you flip them halfway through? You know, you're looking at the clock. Did I start on time? Did I start 5 minutes after? If I started 5 minutes after, you know, you're doing the math in your head. The whole thing is a very
everyone else getting
nightmare.
tense listening to this story right now? Like,
it's a safe little nightmare that you've created for yourself, right? And then at the end, everybody had an amazing workout. Plus, it was different, right? They hadn't done a Pilates class like that all week. And then you feel good afterwards. You get this little, you know, you come down from the adrenaline, and then you're just like, everybody was happy with what I did. I got away with it.
You got away with it.
That's what it felt like at first. Is that you got away with it, and then so then you want to do it again, and then now I'm at the point now to where it's just like, I want that. Like I would love to have that. And now I've got plans. I know how to do. It's just like, oh, the next time I teach a split class, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this, and then again, watching her, you know, do all of that as a mentor, as inspiration. You know, she's teaching while she's doing all of this. And so it's just like, okay, so that's what I need to get to. Because, you know, at this point, I'm playing it safe with a routine that I have memorized just so that I know I'm not going to forget it. and it's going to be
Right.
easy to repeat. But I want to get to the point to where, you know, you can kind of do it on the fly, and, you know, wing it to a certain extent. You know, there are times when you want to plan your stuff, and then there are other times when you can just, you know, wing it. And then there's some pushback that, you know, you're not prepared if you're winging it. But am I not prepared? Because it's all I've got. I'm plugging when I'm winging it. I'm substituting. I'm doing plug and play.
Yeah. Right. And then in those moments, the way that I might rephrase is that I'm letting your body tell me where we go next.
Thank you. Thank you. Because that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm letting the circumstances kind of inspire me a little bit. You know, again, I'm not going to be abandoning my plan like what we were talking about earlier, but I might modify it a little bit because this person might need a modification. And if they come in with that bad energy, and I'm like, I don't think this person wants to do a plank, I'm like, get up there. And if you're not doing planks today, then hang tight. Because we got about three exercises in this series, and they all get up. They all get up. So, you know, I need to be a little less sensitive, a little bit more tough love, I guess, sometimes.
We got to find that balance, right? Like, I mean, there's always that balance within our own personalities, within our own lives, right? Like, where you need to be fierce, you need to be gentle. You need to be gentle, you need to be fierce. Like, you need to be like, which one's the right push? You, as a salesperson, like, you know, you don't want to be too pushy, you don't want to be a sleazy salesperson, but you want to actually give them what they need. And like, you know what I mean? Like, there's all these different times where we're trying to balance out what our personality needs to be to appease the person in front of us.
Right.
And it happens on the mat and it happens in the real world too, right?
Right.
So,
and you have to be, it's like your personality is what you are, is who you are when you're not thinking about it and trying to be the personality that you want to be. And then again, so like those moments when I turn around in a class and I'm just like, folks, I just saw this on Instagram 5 minutes before class started and thought it was a good idea, but it wasn't. You know, everybody laughs and then we move on, you know. So, but I've got the experience to kind of get away with that. You know, if you're a brand new teacher, please don't program your classes off of what you saw on Instagram.
Right. But that's, exactly. And if you understand the why behind it, you kind of can, right?
Totally.
And what I mean by that is like, you have a foundation, you have an understanding. You could throw something at someone and be like, this is what's happening, this is what's activated, this is why we're doing it, this is what you need. And I saw this 5 minutes ago and I thought about you. Here we go.
Yes. And that I thought about you, even if it's not really true.
Yes. That actually, Steve, it's funny you mentioned that. That is one of those lines that I got from my days of counseling. So in doing like counseling and working in that setting, when you open with, I was thinking about you before I got in here.
You make a connection. You make it so much more personal.
Right.
Yeah.
Then they have that buy-in for that new scary exercise that they saw someone else do 2 weeks ago in class and they thought they'd never be able to do it. Hey, I was thinking about you this morning. This is a great movement prep that's probably going to set up that exercise that you couldn't do before.
Yep. And then you're remembering something from the last session. So it makes them feel special. It makes them feel like you care, which you do care, but it's also hard to remember. It's hard to remember all of these, but I mean, it's like we care in the moment here, you know. It's like I really do care about this person, but if I don't have good notes on everything that they're going through, I might forget it in between our sessions. You remind me and it all comes back, but it's just like we work with so many people that these details are hard to remember. And people will realize that too. They'll realize that, you know, oh my God, this guy sees how many people in a day, and he remembered that my right shoulder is a little bit higher than my, you know, whatever the example is.
Yeah, it's good. Going back to your post for a second. Actually, I won't even go there. I love your post and just see how you're just doing all kinds of random stuff with it. For those who are watching for the first time that haven't heard you, can you talk about like how you found Pilates?
Through my friends. I've mentioned her a couple of times, but not her name. Kelly Snalem. She owns the Remedy Pilates studios that I teach at, and I was great friends with her husband before they even met, in fact. And you know, him and I used to be gym buddies, and you know, we would do the best that we could, get overtrain without really a good program. You know, we get so
Yeah.
super sore that let's go ahead and skip Tuesday and try to get on Wednesday. You know,
Yeah.
but this is going back now. This is when we were in our early to mid 20s, so we still don't really know what we're doing or whatever. But she discovers Pilates. She, you know, becomes, you know, addicted, like you know, some people do. And then she became a teacher, and then she, you know, decided that she, after a couple of kids and understanding, okay, this is great for pregnancy as well, and how it rebuilds and everything, you know, became what she wanted to do. Then she was just slowly working on us over time, you know, and then she eventually got me, and it was basically a dare one day, like, when are you gonna come try it? I'm like, fine, I'll come tomorrow. And I was 50 pounds heavier, you know, than I am now.
Wow.
You know, knowing nothing about nutrition like I do now, and just completely different life, you know, and totally humbling. So going back to that, you need to try three things. That was what that was like. If it was not her, if it was not, you know, my best friend's wife, I probably wouldn't have come back. I wanted to leave during the session.
Yes.
I was so humiliated. Because I thought that I was strong. I knew I wasn't in shape.
Yes.
I knew I wasn't in shape, but I thought I was strong. And that workout was core focused.
Yes.
Which I wasn't, you know, I wasn't strong there, and I wasn't in shape. So it was very humbling. But that just inspired, you know, so then it was just, well, you're going to come back? I guess I need to come back one more time, right? And then it was somewhere around the third or fourth time where I made some sort of technical connection in my head where it's the movement, the body movement was similar. The way to get through, I can't remember exactly what it was. We were in some sort of complicated exercise, and we were transitioning to another one. And it was just like, we don't do that. When you're done with the shoulder press, you put the weights down, you wait 2 minutes, and then you do your next exercise. But Pilates this was the first workout that I did that flowed. So it was just like, okay, that exercise is done, but hold your arms up, and then now you're gonna do this. It's like, wait a minute, hold on, I need to rest. And it was the way to solve that in my head was very similar to like the computer problems that I would solve in my tech job. And I was just like, oh my God, I can use the same style of thinking. I'm really good at solving problems that way. And I applied that same style of thinking to my body. And I was just like, I love this. I absolutely love this. And that's, I think, one of my favorite parts of Pilates is the transitions between exercises. You know, going back to my posts, that's something that you'll see a lot of is transitions and how to get to one complicated move to another.
I just want to pause there just for the audience too, just to hear what you said. I wanted to kind of let that linger out there for a moment. The way that we first experience Pilates a lot of times informs how we ensure that people experience Pilates for the first time, like for their first time. How you felt, the discouragement or that challenge or that I thought it was strong moment. And how do you help people to work through that, to be encouraged to try it again instead of be discouraged and just shelf it?
Yeah.
Right. And to find that like, because now you're gifted enough in this that you can give them enough so that it's just outside of the comfort zone where they want more, as opposed to being so far out of the comfort zone that they don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah. Well, I used to introduce people with just the method, and this is just teaching you the method. And we start here, and then we progress to here, and we progress to here, and it's all fundamentally based. And you've got some people and you would lose some people, you know, because you've got people that come in expecting to push, expecting to do weight training on a reformer. Yes. And it's just like, it's not that. We'll get to some stuff that taps into that a little bit, but not today, and that's it. And I've lost them, that whole not today thing. So you got to guess, you got to kind of guess, you got to almost stereotype to a certain extent to where it's just like, this looks like this type of exerciser. And I'm going to, and then you throw an exercise at them that kind of taps into that a little bit. Yes. And then when they're pushing too hard on footwork, you can say, okay, this is not like the leg press at the gym.
Not leg press. Yeah.
No, and this is where I want you to feel this a little bit differently in your back, more so than your legs. And then if you can see the wheels turning, you're just like, okay, I might have somebody here. But if they're not, if they just keep slamming that thing out and in, throw an extra spring on.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like you want them to come back. Maybe they'll figure out what we're trying to do in footwork. Maybe it might take them a month. But God, if I get them for a month,
right?
You know,
it's funny. See, you say that because like one of the lines that I received, that one of my teachers said to us early in the game, which was very liberating for me, is quite simply, get used to seeing really bad Pilates for a really long time.
I struggled with that at first because I was just like, how do we fix this? And to me, my approach was so fundamentally sound that I was just like, well, tried to teach it my way, and then people don't all come to it that way. And so that's really how you decide if you're going to be a good teacher or not, is how do you adapt the way you bring people into this? And I'm really good at bringing people in a very fundamental way, but you've got to get better at bringing them in different ways. And so, yeah, if you've got a guy that just looks like he wants to pick the entire thing up a couple of times, well, then maybe let him try it and just be like, that's not really what this is about, but...
But give me 3 more reps anyways.
You know, since you're in it, do 3 more, and then now I'll try it my way. And then, and then so they can understand, because feeling is believing, right? So if they feel the difference, then they can understand, appreciate it a little bit better. And then they'll usually tell you, oh my God, now I get it. Now I get it.
Yes. Well, we chased after, we got like 3 minutes left here, but like that's like I find that I catch myself doing that. I'm chasing after that, oh, I get it now moment. Yeah. Yeah. So whatever gets them to that I get it now moment, that's what we're going to have to use sometimes.
Yes. Yes. And sometimes it's bad Pilates that you're saying, great job, great job. Because you can see them trying to get there, right?
Yes.
And isn't that more important? It's the journey, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
I heard something yesterday where it was like the man, oh God, I'm going to get it wrong. The man who enjoys walking will get a lot more accomplished rather than the man that's only doing the walk to try to reach the goal. Because if you're enjoying I think the point was that if you're enjoying the journey for the sake of the journey, then you're so much more open to different opportunities that you weren't expecting that pop up along the way. And I think that's the part that spoke to me the most, is just because it's just like, I'm going to be a Pilates instructor. I don't know exactly what that means. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but I know that I got to teach, and I know that I got to get better, and here we go. And then along the way, we get this, we get this. I get a bit of an Instagram following. I get people like you wanting to talk to me, and it's just like, this isn't the goal, but wow, how fun.
How fun is that?
Yeah.
Man, I could talk to you like every day this week.
I enjoyed this, Martin. I wish we had more time.
I know, right? Oh yeah, we'll definitely do more of this because this is so fun.
Great, cool.
Yes. Thank you to everyone who joined us as well. Like so many people I see like Club Pilates and some of your people like in the chat here, and appreciate the comments earlier. Yeah, the whole men and Pilates thing. I'm gonna pull that clip out. I'll tag you on this if you want to pull that extra out where we're calling out every man who doesn't tell their buddies that they do Pilates.
Yes.
I'm gonna put it on my other page as well. Let's just like
let's do that. The whole secret weapon thing makes sense, but you know,
everything else.
They need to admit that they're doing that. And then if you can find that thing on LeBron too, man, I'd love to share that.
Sure. With more people. Yeah, I'll tag it. It's way down on my Real Men Do Pilates page.
Okay, I'll look for it too, because I definitely want to share that. That's so important. And then as he just continues to get more and more popular, and as this gets more popular, it's like we got to get that out.
Right, exactly, for sure. All right, my friend, thank you so much for joining me today. That was awesome.
Thanks, Martin. Great catching up with you, man.
Yes, likewise. All right, take care.
You too, man. See ya.